That when we are talking about loyalty here, we are not asking couples to have blind obedience. Every marriage relationship would experience one kind of test or the other. Now, is there a difference between loyalty and blind obedience? The answer is yes. They are very different issues. Loyalty involves a deep commitment to God, a person, or a relationship, or a cause based on shared values, trust, and mutual respect. Loyalty also requires discernment, wisdom, and sometimes tough decisions, like we see in Proverbs chapter 2, verse 1 to 5, and 1 Samuel chapter 25, from verse 3, 14, and also to verse 38. So there is a difference between loyalty and blind obedience. And I would like to use the story of Abigail with her husband and King David to sort of give us the dichotomy, the difference between loyalty and blind obedience. Now, in that passage in 1 Samuel chapter 25, we see how Abigail demonstrated loyalty to her husband Nabal and their household through her wise and decisive actions, despite Nabal's foolish behavior. Abigail, informed by a servant, acted swiftly to protect her family, gathering supplies and meeting David to intercede with humility and diplomacy. Now, Abigail's loyalty manifests in her proactive efforts to preserve her family's safety and honor, despite Nabal's unworthiness, showcasing her commitment to their well-being. We see a situation where Abigail demonstrated loyalty to her family, her husband, and their family well-being. However, blind obedience involves following rules, commands, authority without questioning or discernment. It can be driven by fear, legalism, or desire for control. It could also neglect personal responsibility, critical thinking, or moral responsibility. It may lead to harm, abuse, or injustice. And I use the story of Ahab and Jezebel in 1 Kings chapter 21, from verses 4 to 16, to describe it. In this passage, Ahab, the king of Israel, desired Naboth's vineyard, but is refused. Jezebel, acting with ruthless cunning, orchestrates a scheme to falsely accuse Naboth of blasphemy and treason, using forged letters in Ahab's name to manipulate local elders. Without reasoning or intervening, Ahab acquiesces to Jezebel's plan, enabling her to arrange Naboth's unjust execution by stoning. This kind of loyalty between a husband and wife is called evil loyalty, or blind obedience to an evil cause. So we see the distinction that when we are talking about loyalty here, we are not asking couples to have blind obedience. Clearly, we've seen how Abigail acted, and we have seen how Jezebel acted. And there ought to be a clear distinction. When we talk about loyalty, we are not asking that couples just go ahead without wisdom, without discernment, to just do things for the benefit of their couple. So these two examples are very instructive for us here. As we continue, let's look at the biblical perspective on loyalty. So loyalty stems from a person's relationship with God. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4 to 5 talks about Christians, believers, loving God with all their heart, their soul, and their mind. So if loyalty has to exist in a marriage between a couple, the starting point is having complete and total love and dedication to God and the things of God. So loyalty stems from a person's relationship with God. Number two, God expects faithfulness from his children. That's what 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 2 says. It says, those given a trust must prove faithful to the things of God. So, apart from the fact that loyalty stems from the relationship with God, God also expects that his children should prove themselves faithful in the relationship that they have entered into. The other aspect is love and commitment between the husband and wife. There has to be love and commitment. This clearly shows us the biblical foundation for loyalty. The other aspect is forgiveness and restoration. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32 talks about being kind, compassionate, and forgiving each other in the marriage relationship. These are some of the biblical foundations that we have with respect to loyalty. And I believe that we should focus our minds on them to help us even as we discuss this topic. Now, what are some of the challenges that could hinder loyalty? There are some things that, if not dealt with in a marriage relationship, they could hinder loyalty. Number one is the issue of lack of humility. If any member of or any part of the relationship does not have humility, it's going to affect the loyalty in that marriage relationship. So each couple must ensure that there is humility amongst them. Then the absence of respect. If there is no respect, it can create a problem of disloyalty in a marriage. Temptation is another issue. Temptations come. Scripture talks about the fact that every believer will face temptation at one point or the other. So temptation is an issue that can affect loyalty in a marriage relationship. What about conflict? Conflict is another issue. Conflicts arise in every marriage relationship. The other aspect is misunderstanding. And if misunderstandings are not dealt with, it can also affect loyalty in the relationship. I'll just focus on these five key aspects. There are several others, but I'll restrict myself to these five. Now, ways in which a married couple's loyalty can be tested. Every marriage relationship would experience one kind of test or the other, and they are in different categories. We'll start with the external challenges. Number one, we have financial struggles. Economic hardship, debt, or financial disagreements can test a couple's loyalty and commitment to each other. That's one of the external challenges. The second one is health crisis. A serious illness, chronic pain, or disability can challenge a couple's loyalty and ability to care for each other. Sometimes one part of the relationship, one partner can fall into some form of sickness. Sometimes it can be debilitating. It can be very bad. And we've seen cases where one partner abandons the marriage relationship because they are unable to cope with the health crisis of one of the partners. So health crisis is a situation that can test the loyalty of a couple. The third one is family conflicts with in-laws. Parenting disagreements or family crisis can test a couple's loyalty to each other. I know of a couple who they even had to separate. It came to a point where they separated because of the kind of conflict that arose because of the relationship of the couple with one of the in-laws. So family conflicts can be very, very, very terrible if they are not dealt with respect to loyalty for a marriage relationship. Number four is social pressures. Society has expectations. There's peer pressure or social media can challenge a couple's loyalty and commitment to each other.